Williams. Oh my goodness. In your life have you seen anything like that?
They're gonna go nuts when he hits this thing.
And now it comes down to one putt for the win. Is it his time?
All right, welcome to the, I believe, 7th episode of the Great Bogey Podcast. I am your host, Cameron, and we've got a special guest here, Justin. A quick little agenda before we get into his introduction. We're going to do a brief recap, and then, of course, a brief recap of the Valero Texas Open. And then, of course, we're going to get into the most important thing happening this week in the world, the Masters and its preview. Justin and I got a lot to talk about, but before we do that, Justin, I'll pass it over to you. Give an intro real quick. I know Justin through work. He's left-handed, and we've never played golf together. So, little fun fact: he lives in Oregon. I live in Denver, but I imagine that's going to change pretty quickly here as I travel out there for our job. To go visit clients. So, that being said, Justin, go ahead. Tell us who you are, where you're from, how you got into golf, and I actually have a question for you when you're done with that related to the Masters tournament. So,
and if it doesn't change with you coming to Oregon, I'm for sure making my way to Denver a few times and we'll play. So there's some killer courses. Justin, I'm from Bend, Oregon. Golf has been kind of an interesting sport for me. So started out golfing when I was a kid. It was like my love. Like I was the biggest golf geek. I was in 5th grade wearing a Titleist Pro back to school, right? That was like there. And I played a bunch of junior league tournaments. The fun fact I usually use for work is that my 7th grade, or maybe it was 8th grade year, I was actually top 200 in the nation. So I made it because I won a playoff in 3rd place for a tournament out here that had like almost the entire West Coast. So
you're like 13 and 14 years old, top 200 player in the nation. Got it.
Playing like super competitive golf, but at the same time, that was kind of the downfall for me with golf, unfortunately, because I took it so serious and it was like everything, right? I didn't play freshman football. Going into high school, everyone knew that like I was going to be on varsity. And funny story, you might actually appreciate this to some extent. First tournament of the year, it's up at Tukwila, and we get out of the van, right? Being from Sisters, Oregon, we had to drive 3 hours to get over there. And I'm playing with, at that point, I think it was 3 seniors and 2 juniors, or 1 junior and myself, a freshman.
Yeah.
I get out of the van, go grab my golf bag. Senior comes up behind me, puts me in a chokehold, and I drop to the ground and I'm out. And they're like frantic, like, oh my gosh, you just killed the freshman. Finally came to, and I was just like, what in the hell? The coach just was livid at that point.
Yeah. This is your teammate.
Yeah, this is my teammate. Seniors, okay. I mean, they don't like when you take another senior spot and you're a freshman in high school. So
right.
It was kind of interesting dealing with that, but obviously we got through that. Took my hazing as a freshman and played all right. Fast forward to same team, same high school. Junior year, my golf coach at that point, he was trying for the tour. And so we practiced. I mean, 2 summers in a row, every single day I was at the golf course with him. He's driving over the pass to go get a new driver, and his wife hits ice and a truck T-bones him and he dies. And that was a huge thing for me, because at that same point, like, my parents got a divorce and I was so burnt out from so many, like, I think my freshman year I played 37 golf tournaments that summer. So it was just like a ton of golf, trying to like grind things out. And senior year, I told my high school coach, he made some smart ass comment to me, and I walked off the course, and I didn't touch golf clubs until 2019. So I didn't play from that point, and randomly, like everyone else, COVID hits. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, shoot, we can't do anything. And at that point, road racing a ton, bikes,
Yeah.
and doing that
That's
thing
that's
where,
big up in Oregon, right? The
yeah, I
bike
mean,
scene.
2 miles
Yeah.
from my house, I've got 60 miles of single track, and I can just ride wherever I want, right? So I
Hmm.
raced for a team out here, and it was fun, but I was gone a lot. Like, you want to talk about 4 hours in golf? Like, there'd be Saturdays and Sundays I'm gone for 8 hours because I'm going on a 100-mile training ride. You
Yeah.
know,
Sun up to sundown. You're gone. You're out of there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And my daughter at that point is what? It's 9 years old. And my neighbor who's retired, he's like 75. He's like, hey, you want to go play golf on a Wednesday? And I'm like, shit, man, can't do anything else. So
Hmm.
pulled out the old 962 DCIs, and from high school, still had the same clubs, and went out and played golf. And before I knew it, it turned from let's go play every Wednesday to a month later, I'm like, I can still shoot in the 80s pretty easily. Let's keep playing.
Yeah.
And then I went out and got like a golf membership at a course that's about 20 minutes from me, and now it's turned into like family. Like, my
Mhm.
daughter is like, she loves golf. She played PGA Junior League for the last 2 years. Like, today, it was going to the golf simulator with her and like her teammates, and like supporting her in that. Like, she knows it's the Masters. She's already asked my wife to make pimento cheese sandwiches and egg salad this week. Like,
Mhm.
I've got a little golf nerd. So it's kind of like
I-
the mini me. I just need to not burn her out of golf.
is she lefty as well?
She's not. It
She's
sucks.
not.
It
Yeah.
sucks because I have to buy her all new clubs. I'm like, gosh, I could just give you my stuff and I could upgrade. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But I've got the left-handed curse.
Well, luckily for you, right-handed clubs are much easier to find than left-handed. So,
Yeah. You guys
um,
are so lucky. You have no idea.
yeah,
I'm like, oh man, that new Mizuno putter is awesome. I want that. Oh, by the way, it's only available in right-handed. Sick.
they don't even make them left-handed. That's crazy.
Yeah, they don't even offer them in left-handed. So
That's crazy. So you essentially took quick math like 15 years off of golf,
almost 20.
almost 20.
Yeah,
You're a couple years older than I am. I'm 34. What are you? 36,
I'm
37?
40.
You're
Just
40.
turned
Okay.
40. Yeah.
Congrats on the big 4-0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So almost 20 years of golf, pick them up, and you're back to shooting 80s pretty easily. So you have the ability. And then what's your handicap at right now?
So I entered the Oregon Mid-Am qualifier, and I'm a 3-3.
3-3. And with that, you are no longer on the wait list. Like you are playing in
Yeah, I'm playing
the
on
mid-am
Sunday.
qualifier.
Yeah. So
This
I'm
this Sunday.
this Sunday on a course that I've actually, like, I've walked it with my daughter because that's where they played their PGA Junior League tournament at. So
Mm-hmm.
my daughter has played a course more than I have, which is kind of weird. Um,
Sure.
but like, I've never played this course. So we're gonna go up Saturday and maybe go play, maybe not, and just she's gonna caddy for me, which is gonna be kind of fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be
So
cool. What time's your tea time?
they
Do you know
haven't
yet?
announced that yet. I'm
No.
probably, so they always do it by handicap. So last year when I tried to do the Oregon Am, I was like a 5.2.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like literally the last tee time. And so anyone that's, plus to scratch is first off, and then they put everyone from that point forward.
Got it. Got it.
So
Well, good luck. That'll be cool. I'll be
yeah.
looking forward to the texter or the team's call on Monday morning to see how you play. So,
Yeah. It's just fun to like compete, right?
mhm.
Like, I love being competitive. So I don't have too many expectations, honestly. I was thinking about goals for it. And last year I was like, oh, I've got to shoot this. And this year I've taken a completely different approach. Um, I'm giving myself 2 3 putts because I know at some point I'm gonna just get frustrated. It's
That's
gonna
gonna
happen.
happen. Yeah.
But I'm gonna try and hit 12 greens in regulation. So
Okay.
if I can come out
So
of
not
that, I'll be
necessarily
happy.
like like an end score goal, but more of
No.
a here's how I want to play and
Yep.
here's what I want to avoid. So no more than 2 3 putts, and you want to hit at least those 12 greens. So
Yep.
I like it.
Those are the two things I'm focused on.
Yeah. Right
And
on.
if
Very
somehow
cool.
I shoot an 85 and just totally, volcanic eruption happens, then I still did those things, then gosh, we got to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to figure out what you didn't do on the 6 holes where you didn't hit the green. And I'm imagining if you're shooting 85, you probably have more than 2 3 putts
Yeah, yeah,
as a
we gotta have
3.3. Yeah.
yeah, we got to have a bunch in there somewhere. So,
So
but yeah, man, that
very
was
very cool.
that's golf for me. So kind of, I mean, obviously I listened to John's podcast and he kind of
Yeah.
took it and played and just kind of took it serious the last 3 years. And honestly, like kind of the exact opposite where I took it super serious as a kid and then just like would not touch golf clubs. Like
Yeah.
I'd get calls like because when I was an insurance agent, I'd get calls and they're like, "Hey, want to play in a scramble?" And I went out once and like I create a fair amount of ball speed, and I can go out and I can crush a driver. And then I put a wedge in my hand and all of a sudden I shanked it. And I'm just like, this is why I'm not playing golf right now.
Yeah.
Like
Off the
it
hosel.
just,
Yep.
yeah, it just drove me absolutely up the wall. So it was like, yeah, I'm not playing golf until I can take it serious and
Hmm.
have like a good time with it. And now golf has turned into, I can go out with the guys, have fun. I can go play like 9 holes with my daughter and just have a blast. Or I can try and go be competitive and like rank myself.
Yep. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Complete opposite of like my story as well. As I just picked it up one day and just gradually got better, from the 20 plus handicap, kind of float around 11 right now. Um, it's all just been kind of self-taught, like trying to figure it out, and then also just not taking the time to get to single digit, right? It's one of those things where you have to dedicate time to it to improve, and that's the hardest thing to do is, where are you choosing to spend your time, right? So I have a 3-year-old, and we just bought his first driver and 7-iron from the PGA Superstore.
Oh yeah.
Took him to the park yesterday. He took like 3 swings and then just got distracted, started running all over the field, which, three
That's
swings
the
is
best
better than
though.
none.
Like
Yeah.
let that happen and let it flow. Like I mean, my daughter, so she just turned 13, um, and it was COVID, right? So like I found a pink
Hmm.
bag, and I was like, oh, this is only $40 on like some Facebook Marketplace or something. Went and got her first set, and then it was like, hey, you want to go out to the course and I'll get you some French fries or something, right? And she was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go. And now we go to the course and I drop her off as I'm parking and she goes in and she gets a Shirley Temple. So like the people there know her, so they like literally see her walk in and they just start making a Shirley Temple
Start
out.
making it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
It's pretty
Yeah,
fun.
no, it seems like you helped develop that kind of love for the game early on, and like you said, you didn't push her. You're not pushing her. Seems like she's choosing to like stay active with you in golf, so that's really cool.
Yeah, and it turned into like kind of a sport that she really wants to do. Like I've never said, oh, you should play golf in college, but she like her friends, we actually live, there's a set of twins, a sister, and then my daughter all in the same cul-de-sac.
Mm.
So there's a lot of female energy running around here in the summertime. And they're all Oregon Duck fans. And so she is like said, I want to play for the Oregon Ducks team. And I was like, well, we better start practicing a lot. So we got to get
Yeah,
on that train.
and you as a golfer yourself, you're like, oh no, I have to go spend more
Yeah.
time on the golf course with my daughter and go
Yeah.
play golf. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
could be worse ways to spend your time, right? So
well, I've got to tell, like, and you'll experience this at some point, Cam, because, like, I'm sure your son will just love it, like, because he want to hang out with his dad, right?
mhm.
Um, but we were playing golf last week, and I gave her a few mulligans. She shot a 44, but it was like she's hitting drives, and she made like a 10-foot putt, and you're like, dude, I can't stop smiling. Like, this is so much
Yeah,
fun. I don't even care what I'm doing. Like, I just want to like watch this happen because it takes a lot of time, right? Like I've spent so many times on the back of the range where, and this is where it started, we would just listen to music. Like that's all I did. I'd take her clubs back there. I'd grab, 2, 3 buckets of balls. She'd hit a few. And then I'm like, oh yeah, play whatever music you want. We're sitting there back by ourselves. She's playing all sorts of music. And then all of a sudden she starts hitting again. And she's like, oh yeah, I want to go again. And we listen to music and I get to
mhm.
practice. And that's kind of how it developed from there.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. I'm looking forward to that. So, all right, everybody, that is Justin and his golf journey. So, the Valero, Justin, did you watch any of this?
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I gotta say, like Akshay, I mean, being lefty,
yeah,
I'm a fan. So he's 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 exciting as hell to watch. Like I love the guy's attitude.
yeah. He's got a good a fun swing to watch. As a spectator, his swing is just enjoyable to watch. He looks like he weighs, roughly about as much as my left leg, and just how he
Yeah.
hits the ball is
140
impressive.
pounds soaking wet, maybe if
Yeah,
he's lucky. Yeah.
and this, but Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday night. I'm like, let me throw 20 on Akshay to be outright winner, and he went wire to wire,
Yeah. That was
wire
awesome.
to wire, which I think is what, like 3 times in the last 25 years or something on tour, or like total. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
happen. They're saying it's one of the hardest things to do in golf. And I mean,
Well, and he's so young, man. Like 22,
22. Yeah,
right? So like 22-year-old having the maturity to, I mean, because how many times have we watched someone come in on like Thursday and put up a good round, and
right.
Friday all of a sudden it's like, they're gonna teeter out, something like that.
They always fizzle out. Like
Yeah.
99% of the time. If you shoot 63 on Friday or on Thursday, like Akshay did, you're not touching that again.
Yeah.
And,
No, you're coming out and you're shooting a par,
yeah.
like
Hmm.
even maybe going one under, but you're not making the putts like you were the day before.
Yep. And I mean, golf Twitter is an amazing place to be sometimes. And just the people, like there were people claiming that Akshay gave up, that 4-stroke lead, completely ignoring the fact that Denny McCarthy made 8 birdies on the
One of
back
the best
nine.
putters on the PGA Tour.
That
Like,
was that was that was probably the best back nine we'll see this year by
but
any golfer.
like, all right, so fast forward to Sunday. Like, bro, you got a wedge in your hand and you put it in the water. Like,
He's
you're
one of
not,
us.
yeah, you laid up from 260 yards, which questionable in his position, right? Like he had the green light, but that green, I mean, there was a lot of trouble around
That's
there.
that's what everybody was doing all day.
Yeah,
Especially towards the top of nobody was pushing that button. Like maybe Rory, did Rory go for it? I mean, he definitely has a distance, but even,
yeah,
when they played that hole during the 18 holes on Sunday, not the playoff, they both laid up. And
yeah.
I can't recall anybody going for it on Sunday.
I mean, yeah, and it's true, but I think you've got, well, and this is a good way to look at it, like who actually had the momentum going into that playoff? Was it Akshay making the birdie at 18? Or was it McCarthy who just came in on a roll of birdies? Like, I don't
It
know.
it, it had to be like I don't think it went one way or the other. Like when Denny McCarthy made his birdie on 18, in regulation,
Yeah.
I had been pacing, the living room for the last 4 holes. I got
Yeah.
my step going that day. Um, and when Akshay just absolutely nailed that putt, dude, I said to myself, he's gonna win. Like he's gonna win. Like he learned something from his close calls. Like he's closing it out. He shot 5 under on Sunday
Yeah.
with a 4-shot lead, and it was tied going after 72 holes. That's an impressive comeback by Denny McCarthy.
Well, no one thought anyone was going to come close to Akshay. Like they were talking about
No.
walking away with it, right? So it was cool
Mhm.
that he didn't.
Yep.
But I also think how many 22-year-olds get in that situation with, what is this, his second year on tour? Like with his official card, right? Like he had sponsors
Yeah.
exemptions and stuff like that in 2019,
Mhm.
2020. So maybe he's like 3 years. Um, but to be able to like actually hold that together and know that someone's chasing you, right? Because like imagine that you Thursday, Friday, you've got this lead. Saturday goes down a little bit. All of a sudden, you look at the leaderboard on Sunday, and you're like, "Oh,
Yep.
he's rattling off a bunch of birdies. He's climbing real quick."
Yep.
Like to actually have the mental grasp to not just implode right there
Mhm.
says a lot about him. But he did that at the Fortinet, um, right? He had that was that win, and if he won, that's where he actually got his card and he got his exemption. And then, I mean, Barracuda, wasn't that his like first win
That
with
was
his
his first
girlfriend on the bag, I think?
PGA Tour win. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm super excited about this guy. Like, I'm all for Akshay to like go on a
Mhm.
roll. He also does some YouTube stuff, which is
Yeah.
badass. Like, he's totally open, like the Brian Bros. He's been on there. He's done something with Grant Horvat. Like,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, one
pretty
of
cool.
one of my favorite videos that I watch on YouTube, and this could be biased because of my upcoming trip this summer, is him and another guy trying to get his tour card played Garrett and Grant back when Garrett and Grant were making videos on
Oh,
GM Golf.
yeah.
On number 2, they did a best ball like match play.
Oh,
And it's very enjoyable. You know, like Akshay gets it. He's young. He's 22. You know,
yep.
that's what like young golfers do. They go in on YouTube, right?
Well, now, I mean, gosh,
Yeah.
what,
Now that's what I'm
like
saying. Now, like,
last 5 years, 10 years.
yeah. I mean, all those good guys are like, let's call it 22 to 25 right now. Probably started when they were 20, 21.
Yep.
I mean, it's growing the game, which some people want, some people don't. But I'm excited to watch Akshay play. That was a huge win for him this season and last week because he gets into the Masters. He gets into all the signature events.
Yep.
And it's just going to catapult him into the top 50 to then go on a run and stay there for the playoffs. So,
I mean, how do you feel about him going to the Masters?
I had to pay homage to him. I put 20 on him because he won me a bunch of money last week. I said, Akshay, let's go for 2. Let's go for 2.
I mean, of all the people, like the right attitude, he does have the game. He is long enough, you know,
Mhm.
because that's one of the things that, I mean, we'll probably talk about it at some point, but I mean, the course totally favors someone who can hit the 175 to 225 yard shot, right? It's not
Mhm.
just a ground and pound, hit that driver 80-yard wedge, hit the driver
Yeah.
110-yard wedge. There's going to be some, you know, 6, 7, 8 irons in, which is something that a lot of tour courses. I mean, I was really surprised. I don't know if you've ever looked that up, but how long Augusta National is.
Yeah, I don't mean to brag, but I did just win the Masters in the PGA 2K, so I got
So
I got a
you're
pretty good
there.
idea
Yeah.
of how Masters plays.
Yeah.
But no, it's long, and it's always interesting, like the endurance these guys got to have to if you make the cut, you're walking 72 holes right at this place where the cameras don't do it justice.
No.
If you were to watch like the women's amateur that just happened there,
Awesome
um,
event. Awesome
yeah,
event. Why are we not talking more about that, by the way? Like,
yeah, good call. Next year, but what I
or
was saying is
and
like,
I'm just going to throw this out there, or the fact that Nelly has just won 4 tournaments in a row.
mhm, okay, 4 starts in a row, match play being one of them, which is cool. It's not just a straight up stroke play. Like she
Yeah,
literally beat the best of the best head to head
totally.
to cap off. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
But the camera angles they were showing they don't show the same angles. It's really interesting
No.
because they were very low compared to how they are on the Masters broadcast. And it's like these greens are out of control. The fairway undulations are out of control.
Some of those gals, like I was watching, gosh, was it Wad? What? How do you pronounce her last name? But she was from
Lottie
Florida
Wode.
State. Yeah, so she was from Florida State, right? Like, so you watch that last group go off, and I mean they're players, right?
Yeah.
Like those girls are not slouches. They're gonna kick the crap out of any of us and probably 95% of your listeners, right?
Mm.
So they go out there and you're watching them with these like 5-foot breaks. Like, dude, you're aiming way out there, really? And just
Mhm.
like barely touching it. And it's just like, oh shit, that's 3-4 feet
Yeah.
high. Okay. That's a little different. But it also shows like, I mean, how good is the PGA Tour? Like those guys are of elite. So you've got people going out there, and then Bailey Shoemaker goes out and shoots like what, 6 under?
She was shot 66.
It was awesome.
I think there was like 2 bogeys on that card.
Yeah, it was crazy. So came in and like total behind the pack, just came out and like shot that. I mean,
Mhm.
they were thinking obviously she was going to win, especially after like Woody or Waddy, whatever her last name was. She came out and made a few bogeys, but
Yeah.
it's a cool event. And you're right, like the camera angles, it was pretty
I
cool
just
to
remember
see it from
watching
that
some
aspect.
replays. I'm like, you don't ever see this on the Masters like broadcast,
Yeah.
these angles. And even just like, hearing, especially some interviews from this week, like Brooks Koepka, for example, I think it was today, a reporter asked him, he goes, "Hey, do you think like 59 is possible?" And he goes, "Have you ever played here?"
Yeah.
And the guy says no. And Brooks is like, "I can tell by that question." I mean, even the best of the best say it's a hard golf course, in that, you know, putting 4 rounds under par is probably one of the more impressive things you can do with a golf club at Augusta.
I mean, if you think about the last few years, it's really interesting how the scores have like been up and down, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you come out, and it also depends on your like if you're going out in the morning or the afternoon, and that kind of changes things on Thursday and Friday, and then we finally get to Saturday and you see it calm down a little bit. But that's honestly, I mean, you kind of asked me this question earlier, and you're like, why do you like the Masters? Right? For me, it's like the history of it. Um, Honestly, the biggest thing that I get drawn into is how perfect that place is.
Yeah.
Like it's like the I'm gonna use like the word Shangri-La, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
It's
it's the
paradise.
it's the Disneyland of golf. Like I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you go to Disney World and you're like, oh my gosh, like there's millions of people here, but it's so clean and nice. Like only seeing it, right? I've never been. That's a dream. Every year the lottery, right? But no grass is out of place. It's like perfect. I mean, even in those big open, and this is what I always thought was interesting with the camera angles they used at that women's Augusta, is like how much grass there was. Like they
Mm-hmm.
came into a few holes on Amen Corner. It's like it's just all connected. It's all fairway.
Yep.
Like right, there's no like trees blocking it with dirt and separation. It's like, oh, this is just all perfect grass and it's everywhere.
Yeah, or when there are trees in between holes, those stop, and then, like you said, there's like fairway grass,
Yeah, just
going
everywhere.
connecting the next two. It's really cool concept. I would say what I actually really like about the Masters is, I'll say the tradition of it. I like the green jacket ceremony. I like that the best players in the world, this is the tournament that they want to win before they retire.
Yep.
Like, I think it seems like if a pro golfer is like, listen, I won the Masters, like, complete, job well done, right? Don't get me wrong, they all want to win, they want to win a lot, but
But
like, if some 80-year-old retires and says, listen, I won the Masters, like, I like that. I like the exclusiveness of the golf course. Like, it's impossible for people like you and I to probably play this golf course, right?
yeah,
And
ever.
yeah,
Like never happening.
it could. We, never say never, Justin.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would love, you apply for the lottery. I really probably haven't. I applied for the lottery for the first time like 5 years ago,
Hmm.
and I mean, there's like people who have just applied 20 years straight and just keep getting. I don't.
Forever.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, I'd love
But
to
see
go. I'd love to
but
go
see
see
that's
the
kind of
property.
cool too. Like that's the history of it,
Hmm.
right? Like there's some people where it's like, oh yeah, my grandfather applied for the lottery. My dad
Right.
applied for the lottery. I'm applying for the lottery because it's like something we just do on that day. I mean, even the history of Augusta National is pretty cool. Like the fact it was about to go bankrupt and all this kind of stuff, like there's some cool history behind it. Obviously not for this podcast, but um, there's neat things that kind of these highs and lows of it to make it into what it is today.
Yeah. Right.
Just sticking with that vision.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. No, that's cool. When do you like, so Monday, like, the live from the range starts, it's streaming, whatever. Like, when do you lock in?
So it was interesting. I was watching like live from the Masters today a little bit, kind of like some of the interviews and just kind of paying attention to it. Um, Honestly, I'll probably get a little bit more into it. Like Wednesday is probably a good day for me.
Hmm.
Thursday, I love waking up. because obviously it's like, when's the first tee time? 5
It'll be
a.m.
5
Pacific
a.m. your
time.
time.
Yeah. So like I'll wake up and I'll just throw it on the computer because like viewing it on the website, the Augusta website with the app and everything, it's awesome.
Yeah.
They do the featured groups, stuff like that, and you just kind of throw it in. I mean, my daughter and I will probably end up watching early in the morning on Saturday and Sunday. So
Yeah. Yeah. I have the live from the Masters going. What I like to do Monday and Tuesday and probably like the 2 weeks before is I just go back and watch like old final rounds.
they were
A big
playing
one of
2019 today.
Yeah, a big one of course is 2019 with
Yeah.
Tiger. But even if you go watch 2020 with DJ, seeing him get so emotional, getting that green jacket and doing his like little speech and interview afterwards, like you're like, oh DJ, you're not a robot. Like you actually like have emotion inside of you that you have towards golf because like he's got that famous interview question of like, hey DJ, how do you cut the ball? He's like, well, you just got to make sure it cuts.
Yeah.
And so it's cool seeing him have the emotion. Then Hideki, I think it was 2021. After that, with his caddy bowing down to
Caddy
the course.
bowing. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it that plays into like the respect and like the tradition that these guys see, and they want to win this tournament.
totally. Hideki is like a low key fan favorite for me.
Oh yeah,
I followed him. I went out to Bay Hill and walked around on it was either Thursday or Friday at Bay Hill. And you want to talk about phenomenal golf course too. Like Bay Hill is amazing. Like the King did a great job. But I walked with Hideki and there was like 3 of his friends and I saw him on the putting green kind of talking. So when we were walking, I'm like, oh hey, you're with Hideki, right? And they're like, oh yeah, we just flew in from San Francisco, and they were kind of talking about stuff, and they're all so nice. It's crazy.
yeah, yeah.
So
I picked Hideki for first round leader. He goes off a little earlier in the day.
yep,
He putted very well. You have to putt well here. These greens are crazy.
they are.
He putted very well on Sunday at the Valero. I mean, he's won it. He's won here before. I feel like as much as I want Rory to complete the Grand Slam, I got a tingling saying that we're gonna have a repeat winner this week.
Ooh,
It
interesting.
could be, like I mean, once you narrow it down like that, like you're left with like 5 people, right? It's gonna be
True.
Scheffler, Rahm, Hideki, DJ, maybe Jordan Spieth.
So he's one of my bets. I've got him in there, Loki. But I was looking at the
Jordan
10-8
or
there.
Hideki.
Well, so I've actually got both of them in my picks,
Okay.
but
Okay.
Jordan Spieth is playing pretty good coming into this. But I mean Hideki at the 10:18 tee time for Pacific.
Did we lose him? Sorry, guys, we're having a little technical difficulties. We lost Justin there. Please hold. All right, you're back. We can see you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, all of a sudden everything was gone.
Yeah, so you froze, and it's happened before. What I did is a little longer than it happened, before. So I just removed you from stage and added you back,
Oh.
and then it was black for a while, but you're here now. So your camera is a little there. It's coming back a little clearer now, but
Do I need to turn
let's
it off
just
and on or anything?
no. I think you're good. I think we're fine.
Okay.
But
what
so
I was saying
we
is,
were getting into like picks and stuff and who we like this week.
yeah. So we wanted to start off with, right? You were thinking top 20. That's what you wanted to dig into, right?
Yeah, and what I was thinking is we give 2 players who we're pretty confident that we like, that we're willing to put our own hard-earned money on to top 20.
So I like to pick like in the top 20. I mean, I'll always go into DraftKings and just see, where's the largest that I think they're going on. And I don't think these are going to be like two per se dark horses.
Sure.
But honestly, going Akshay, top 20, just because like I want that story to happen. I want that story to happen so bad. Like that'd be so much
Mm-hmm.
fun. And then Ludwig.
Is that really who you picked?
Hmm.
That's who I picked.
Really? For your
Yeah,
top 20?
I like Ludwig, Ludwig Oberg. It's his first time seeing the course, right? But he's been playing well. I think he had a few bumps on Sunday at the Valero, a few bogeys made down the stretch to kind of push him out, of top tenning, or on the brink there. But I like watching him play. I think I made a very long shot 4-leg parlay for the majors. You want to hear it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I put this in probably like 3 months ago. I put in it's $1.71 a bet. It's Ludwig to win the Masters, Hovland to win in May is the PGA, right?
Yep.
Hovland to win the PGA, Spieth to win the U.S. Open, and Minwoo Lee to win the Open. $1.71 would pay out $999,734. So I'm cashing that out if Ludwig actually wins this week because it's probably gonna be a nice cash out option. But
I'm pretty sure
that's
you can get your Augusta National membership at that point, and we'll both get on the course.
yeah. Even if I could just pay off the house and get out of debt, that would just be fine too.
Yeah.
But I will. I would love to go play Augusta. So, but yeah, I like Ludwig. I think he's a young rising star. Right. He came in the tour and won quickly. He swings the club like no other. I think what he's got going for him, he's got a little height to him too,
Yep.
which I think helps his mechanics and just getting the ball out there. I mean, his driver head flew off on 17
I
on
didn't see that,
Sunday,
really.
and he still drove the green. He had an eagle putt from like 12 feet.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it just snapped right off. Screw was still in the shaft. And like Akshay, I'm just a big fan of Akshay.
The story is awesome, right?
Yeah.
Like if he could go big win at Valero,
Mm-hmm.
go into the Masters, and like play really well, that would just be so cool.
Yeah, and I did make another bet. It's a parlay. It's Wyndham Clark and Brian Harman top 20. Not like it's not a crazy bet. Don't get me wrong, but it's a 4-leg parlay. So I had Rory top 5, Koepka top 10, Clark and Harman top 20.
I like that one. That one
I,
has like substantial legs to making it happen.
yeah, I think Rory's he's got to win. Like
I was gonna say that the one person you have to worry about in that, like Harmon, he's always pretty solid. Like he's never gonna be like awesome. I don't think he can win it, but I think he can totally place top 20, top 10.
mhm,
I
yeah,
mean, you've got Brooks who, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's gonna play this week. Like this week he's gonna come out and play just like any majors when he was on the PGA.
yep.
But like Rory is the one where you're like, can he actually get over the hump of what Augusta has cost him in his career?
He needs to be in contention. I've got a group chat full of buddies that they're like, nothing scarier than a Rory out of contention on Sunday because he plays lights out. I think it was you remember when him and Colin Morikawa both hold
Yeah,
out?
hold out from 18. I was just
Yeah,
about to say that. Yeah,
he shot like 9 under par that day, 8 under par to put himself top 5.
yeah.
But like
Shot
you're already
himself in
way
the
too.
foot Thursday and
Mhm.
Friday, but
Yeah,
played awesome on Saturday. And I think that was 2 years ago, right? And he started that
I think
run.
that was when Scheffler won. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That was
yeah.
awesome.
So I put a lot of bets out there. Akshay gave me some cushion there to go ahead and throw some parlays and just
A little
outright
fun
winners and
money.
all that. But yeah, I would say Akshay and Ludwig, I'd love to see them at least top 20 and earn that spot back and just keep performing.
Totally. Yeah, that would be ideal. Who
Off the top of your head, if you had to throw a dark horse top 20, who are you gonna put it on?
dark horse? I mean,
Dark horse.
you don't think Ludwig or Akshay are actually like dark horses?
Compared to the field, I don't think so.
So
I mean, you got like people like Grayson Murray out there, Cam Davis. I mean, you
so
even got the past champions like Mike Weir and all that. So
yeah, I mean, so I get it's hard to say like dark horse, right? Like, what does that actually entail? Because
there's always an argument for like that person not actually being a dark horse, right? It's
yeah,
like,
because like
okay, he's a pro
Ludwig,
golf. Yeah.
not entirely a dark horse, but it's his first time playing Augusta, and like he's still a
Mm-hmm.
rookie. Like we all forget about that. I mean, honestly, I would probably throw out like the best would I think Cam Davis has the game for it because he's long.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cam Davis can actually hit the ball,
Yeah, have one less club than everybody into
and
these
no one
holes,
gets
and
credit for it.
yeah,
I mean, he's not a dark horse, but I don't know. Like, couldn't Keegan Bradley? I mean, he plays pretty well.
yeah, good.
No one's gonna put money on that or root for him, but he definitely has the ability to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's like 7, 8 time winner on the PGA Tour. I mean, he's got game to win tournaments.
I mean, he's
He
like
he
150
he
to 1 right now.
he
So
he needed to like essentially win a tournament to get into the Ryder Cup, right? Like he had to do that, and he did it. He won the Travelers, or was it the Travelers? Wells Fargo, whatever.
I
He
always
won,
can, yeah, he won one of those.
and
It was the
like he
Travelers.
got he got snubbed, of course, right? But you know, yeah, we'll see. That's those aren't too bad. What I would consider dark horses at this point because they haven't done much this year. I don't think.
You've got another person in there that could be a dark horse, and I'm using air quotes, dark horse.
Yeah.
Gary Woodland.
Okay.
He's played pretty good at in the past. He hasn't. I mean, he obviously had his brain injury and stuff like that, but
Mm-hmm.
he played okay at the Genesis. But he's coming back to the Masters, and I mean, Augusta's got some magic, and I could see if he could get the flat stick working, he could actually be up there.
Yeah. Gary Woodland, nice guy. Met him. He was part of that group that I walked with at the Waste Management. So nice guy. All right. So we went from top 20. Let's look at, our top 10, who we'd like, and who we would put our own money on. Who do you got?
Hideki. He's my top 10 pick.
Yeah. Okay. That was mine.
Did we
too.
just pick another one of the same?
So I got Hideki. Listen, I made a little bit more risky 4-leg parlay, so I picked Scotty and Cam Smith the top 5, and Hideki the top 10 with Akshay top 20. $25 bet pays off $4,000. It's funny, we haven't talked about Cam Smith. He plays big tournaments fairly well.
He does. I mean, he's got the flat stick, right? Like he's the guy who can
Mhm.
putt.
Arguably one of the best putters in the world.
And is it an argument anymore that they're not
Huh.
playing 72 holes and they're playing resort courses for live, right? Like, is that?
Yeah.
I mean, Brooks showed up last year at the Masters. We had a bunch of live guys, but like they haven't shown up.
I'm almost positive there's like 5 people from live on the top 10. Like it was split pretty evenly.
Well, yeah, I mean, you had Brooks,
And then if you add Rahm,
Phil, Patrick Reed. I mean, that was last year, right?
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I mean, Phil probably doesn't have the game this year, but I could get behind.
I was
there.
waiting till the end of the podcast to ask you about Phil. So just so you know, audience, Justin currently is wearing an autographed Phil Mickelson hat. So.
Oh yeah, went to live, followed him around for, I mean, gosh, probably 12 holes, and waited until 18 because his manager was like, "Hey, he doesn't sign anything till the end."
Yeah.
And my daughter and I were adamant. Like, she's known Phil as like my favorite golfer of all time before he did like all of this last stuff in the last 3 or 4 years. But like I was the guy who would root for Phil over Tiger.
Yeah, because you're lefty.
I mean, yeah, because I'm lefty, and that's like,
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta kind of roll.
You almost have to. You almost have to.
Yeah.
Okay, so we both got Hideki top 10. I also picked Brooks. I made a bet on Brooks top 10.
All right. I put money on Brooks. I actually did this last week. I put money on him to win.
There you
So
go.
I just put a couple bucks on him, and yeah, that's my actually number one pick. But we'll talk about that in a second.
Yep, got it. All right. So we did top 10, top 5. Who's your lock 'em in pick?
So I think I'm pretty confident in these two right now. Both Texas, right? So we're going Jordan Spieth and Will Zalatoris.
Will Zalatoris, really?
Yeah, I think Will Zalatoris is going to come into play. And I was actually saying this, like his mom sent him a text that he made kind of public, like said, look how far you've made it in like 12 months.
Yeah.
And the putter yip thing, like he's putting really well with the lab putter and that broomstick.
Shout out to Lab Golf, Sam Hahn. Justin loves lab putters. Oh, he froze again. He's got that Oregon internet. Please hold, guys. Appreciate your patience. Lab putter. I looked down him. I was at PGA Superstore. I'm talking to myself now while we wait for Justin, and I hit so many good putts with that cattle prod looking one. Did you hear all that?
I did not.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I was gone. Sorry.
I was talking to the crowd. I told them that you have that middle of Oregon internet. But anyways, I was telling them while we were waiting for you to get back that I was at the PGA Superstore yesterday. Of course, I got to go grab the lab putter, the big old, the original.
Well, yeah, I was asking you about it last week, and you were making fun of me for it. So
dude, I hit so many good putts. I hit so many
sure.
good putts with it. I just can't look at it, dude. It's so.
Hey, I mean, it's not. You don't look at cash in your pocket either. It goes in your wallet.
I don't know. I do kind of look at cash in my pocket, but
just frame it. Every time you win a few bucks from the guys on Saturday, you're like, yeah, this is going where I can see it.
I'm not winning money on the golf course, Justin. Let's just make that clear. So
we'll play it.
I like to play golf with. I don't mind being the worst golfer in my group. Like, yeah. I don't mind like being that guy. All right, so top 5. You have Will Zalatoris and Jordan Spieth. Yeah. Will Zalatoris. You were talking about Texas mom sent. Look how far he's made it.
Yep.
From that injury, right? Yeah.
Yep. The back surgery.
Surgery.
I mean, he's got the length. He drives the ball really well. He's got good iron play, and he is actually in that. Like I was looking at some of the statistics on like Golf WRX, et cetera, on 175 to 225 yard shots, because that's where like it kind of comes down to what they've seen. And I think he could actually do pretty well in that.
Yeah, he's a good ball striker. I mean, when he earned his exemption, he finished second. He's finished second in the Masters.
Yeah. But he also couldn't make putts that year.
Yeah. I like Willie Z. We have both have Z last names. Okay. Make that known.
You guys are brothers.
And just the performance he put on to earn his tour card when he was running those exemptions that year, what was that, 2021?
Yep.
You had to give him his tour card. Like, there's no way, because like he was top 10 in like every freaking tournament he played in.
Was that the same year? What tournament was it where the par 3, where the ball went in the railroad tracks and he was actually tempted to hit it out of there?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he even thought about it, I'm like, oh man.
He walked up there. He looked at his on that island green. Yep.
Yeah. He's like, I think I can do this. And the caddy finally was just like,
he's like, I think he won. He won, didn't he? That's the tournament he won.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he went and took his medicine, dropped it to like 5 feet, one putted, had a bogey.
Which we can all probably take a lesson from that. Like, take your medicine, move on, and like.
As I get older, I accept it quicker. That I just need to accept the fact that I need to just hack it out of here, get on the fairway, or take the drop, whatever.
For sure.
I like Will Zalatoris. Jordan Spieth is one of my favorite golfers. Shout out to Michael Bryan, or he hates it when I mention Jordan Spieth on this podcast, but he's an avid listener, so I'm going to shout him out on it. out of like the three golf, I've met Jordan. We hung out. We're like pretty much friends at this point. With the waste management experience, he's a nice guy. He's like my age. I've always enjoyed watching him play. One thing I wanted to talk about with Akshay earlier on was he's top 4 youngest players on tour to reach 2 wins. It's Tom Kim, Jordan Spieth, and Rory McIlroy in front of him. I don't know the order. I just know Akshay is like the 4th oldest in that young list of people. So, just fun fact
Big
there.
shoes to fill.
Right. I like the Jordan Spieth pick more than I like the Will Zalatoris pick. Just because I haven't really seen Will play for a few weeks. I don't think.
Yeah, and you also, I mean, Will played good in not last week, but the week before.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was up on the leaderboard for that. But Jordan Spieth also has the knowledge of the course. I mean, he's obviously won, but he's played there how many times?
He should have had 2 wins, except he completely melted down at Amen Corner.
Yeah. I've watched videos of that, but remember, like, I stopped paying attention to golf for almost 20 years. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I didn't get to witness it. I should have been there on my couch watching. I wasn't.
It was 15 and 16. I think he won his first in 15, and then he was going into Sunday, had the league on the Amen Corner, and just crapped all down his leg. Depressing stuff. But I like the Jordan. Yeah, I like the Spieth pick more than I like the Zalatoris pick. But like, I'm not going to be shocked. I mean, either of those guys could come out and win it. They have the skill set. Zalatoris is putting better with the lab golf, or the lab putter. I like the broomstick. Akshay has similar kind of the putter. It's not lab, but it's that that
and
grip.
he's made more putting changes than anyone ever. Like, he went from standard, then he went crosshand, then he went to arm lock, and now he's doing the broomstick.
Yeah, Akshay, you're saying?
Yeah, Akshay.
Yeah, yep.
So
yep. All right, I don't mind that. I don't mind them.
So who are you taking to win, Cam? Like, who's your number 1 pick?
All right, of course, and this isn't going out on a limb by any stretch of the imagination. The first person I put $50 on to win was Scotty Scheffler. Like, how do you not like? The pros say like you have to peak at Augusta, like you have to come in and like you have to play well before, but you have to hit that next level. He's won it before. He's the best player in the world right now. He fixed his putting, and look what happens. He's won a million tournaments in the last month.
Yeah.
He was my first person I put money on. Outside of that, I've got Brooks, John, Rahm, and Hideki.
Okay, so we're a little bit different. I said, I mean, you can't say anyone but Scotty, but I do have the asterisk by it. And this is so obviously, Cam, we're doing our pick 'em tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
If you get first pick tomorrow, do you take Scotty knowing that there is a chance that he can leave the tournament for his first child?
Listen, I haven't seen. Did Scotty say he would leave?
Yeah. Yes, Scotty and Sam Burns said they are on like call. If it happens, they are leaving. Period.
Okay. I have a comment about that I would like to share with the audience. There is no way that. Listen, I have a son. I was right there. I was a front row seat to him being born. If Sam Burns, especially who hasn't won, I'm like, if you're in contention, like what are you doing? No, you do not need to leave. That baby's gonna be just fine. But hey, sorry you missed your birth. I did win this sick green jacket and etched my name into history one more time if you're Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
That being said, I think for our pick 'em, I'm not gonna put all my eggs in the same basket.
Yeah.
I think if I had first pick, I think I'm going Rory or Brooks.
Okay. So I went Scotty, and with my asterisk of like, does he leave for his child? Brooks, like, I love Brooks, like the attitude like that he plays at the majors. Even though he kind of like Didn't give my daughter a high five when we went to the live event. He was the
Oh, that
only
jerk.
he was the only guy that would not like even acknowledge people's existence. And I'm like, gosh, you're such a prick, but I still just
Yeah.
enjoy watching you golf. Damn it. And then Rory. Rory's playing good. He's not playing too good. And I think that's the big thing, because I think Rory's came into this tournament in the past and he's been playing so good that it's like, oh yeah. Like last year, they're like, oh yeah, Rory, this is his year. And then like you saw what happened last year.
Yeah.
So
And the thing with Rory too is like he put up a great number on Sunday at the Valero. It's just like everybody. There was two people who were in contention.
the
You know what I'm
first 2
saying?
days
Like,
they were so far ahead that
yeah, if you remove Akshay and um Denny
McCarthy.
McCarthy,
Yep.
like Rory pretty much came back and won the tournament.
Yep.
He was third. I think he maybe been tied for third, but like he put up a good number on Sunday. I think he's in peak form, and he wants this win probably more than anybody else in that field because of the eyes that he has on him, the history. He's gone like 16 years or something without winning another major. Like,
Well, let's ask this question. Who doesn't want that story? Like, is there anyone in this world that does not want to see Rory actually succeed with that?
yes, there is, unfortunately.
Who? That person? No.
So
That
the group chat I told you about, they're gonna comment on this, Justin. I'm gonna send you everything they say.
no,
Because some of
you don't
them
have
do
a
not
heart
like
or a
Rory.
soul if you're rooting against Rory at this point.
Yeah.
Like, comeback player, like finally found his groove again, started winning again, and now he's got this one last piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best story ever, man. Like, I want to see
agree.
him come back to success.
No, I do. I mean, he's the face of the PGA Tour, whether people want to admit it, like it, or whatever. Like, he's their
Whether
guy.
good or bad. So.
Yeah. I think it'd be good for the game if he wins, but the Masters. I mean, Zach Johnson could just somehow manage to win another one this year, and you never know. Like,
So I actually read about Zach Johnson's win. Ironically, that we're actually you even mentioned his name, but Zach Johnson only won.
He was just on my screen right here. So
yeah, so Zach Johnson only won, and this is again coming from like I think it was WX. I was reading it on. The only reason he won is because it was cold, it rained a ton, and no one was reaching par fives into that year.
Yeah.
So it cut the course. Like a short hitter, someone like Zach Johnson can actually do something with it. I mean, the same problem.
Wasn't like handicapped by getting outdrove by Tiger Woods for
Exactly.
yards.
Yeah.
I saw a post on, I think it was golf Twitter, and I say golf Twitter, and it was like some of the shots that Tiger Woods has had into some of these holes over the history. Like, I'll have to send it to you. Are you on Twitter?
I'm not actually.
He's got like wedge in hand on these long par fours and par fives and like 8-iron into 15. So it's a long hitter's course for sure.
And especially when it dries out.
We haven't talked about Bryson.
Gosh,
you don't like Bryson.
He's just such a moron. Like
I think he's like book smart. He's intelligent, and like
he's a genius.
From having personality.
He just says stuff that is like, I'm like, oh, you're such an idiot. I don't want to like you, even though I did like. And I kind of actually miss the like the.
Were you team Brooks or team Bryson?
Oh, team Brooks all the way.
Okay.
I wanted to watch Brooks demolish Bryson, but there was a lot of credit I think Bryson should still get for the transformation he made with like his body, right? When he came out in 2019, or maybe it was like 2020 when it finally happened, and he had put on like 60 pounds of muscle.
It was like 2020 into 21, because if you watch 2019 Masters replay, he's like scrawny. He doesn't have any of the muscle.
Okay. Yeah. And
that's one thing I noticed watching that for the 19th time this year is Bryson is not bulky yet.
Yeah. And he came out and he did that. I don't know. He's just an interesting guy. And I dislike, like, I'm all about like all probably go buy a lab this weekend, like just because I'm like so
If I hit
torn
some of these
over.
bets, I might go buy one
Yeah.
just to say I have
I'm
one.
like so torn with the technology of it and how it makes sense. So it's like I understand why he's doing the arm lock and how he does his clock system and all that kind of stuff. But I also really dislike how he lofts his clubs because everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, he hits a 6-iron 260 yards or 240 yards, right?" And while that is awesome, it's like 18 degrees or something for the
Yeah,
spin of it.
you don't need that. Like you
Yeah.
see people win all the time hitting their 6-iron 205, 200.
And so we've proven that like you don't have to hit a 400-yard drive.
I think that's where you probably get the most benefit is off the tee box from having that added distance. From there, it's like, what benefit is there? And this is probably my lack of golf club knowledge, but like, what benefit is there being able to hit 6-iron 250 yards?
The fact that you're not hitting a 3-wood, I guess, like you can control
Yeah,
it a little bit
these are the
more.
best. These guys are the best in the world. They hit 3-wood where they want to.
Totally. I know, but it's also proof like he's I mean, he's relevant to the point of what he shot a did he shoot a 59 or was it like 60?
Mm-hmm. No,
So
I thought it was a 58,
I thought it
58 or
was
59.
yeah, I thought it was 59. So
He
he's
broke
like
60 for sure.
yeah. So I mean, he's totally relevant in that aspect of it, and he's a good golfer. It's just,
And he won the U.S. Open at Winged Foot. Like, let's not forget that. Like,
but yeah,
he's a major
okay,
champion
major
after
champion,
bulking up.
totally.
And
But
I want to say like the bomb and gouge played a role into that win because he was
100%.
just he's like, if we're gonna end up in the rough, I might as well end up in the rough 40 yards ahead of everybody.
With a wedge in his hand instead of
Mm-hmm.
an
Right,
8-iron. So that
right.
goes through that thick rough of the U.S. Open a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Okay. So where do you think we briefly touched on Phil? What do you think Phil does? Does Phil make the cut?
gosh, uh, if we're going for make cuts, we could. Are you taking Tiger and I'm taking Phil?
Well, I was gonna ask you about Tiger
Yeah.
afterwards. I think they both make the cut.
I like Phil has history here. I mean, he played so good last year. I think
Two-time winner too. I mean,
he's in a mental spot. He's one of those guys where if he can get his wedge and his putter going, I mean, the guy. I mean, you remember watching him.
yeah,
I mean,
he's having dude pull the pin from 80 yards out on 14
yeah,
whatever hole that was. Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
okay, Phil,
he's
cocky
awesome.
son of a gun.
Yeah, I think he makes the cut for sure. I honestly, he was actually one of my like weird picks that I wanted to do for like top 20. I think he can actually place in that arena. So
Yeah, yeah. He hasn't played great in the last few live tournaments. I mean,
yeah,
I think he's put an 80 up there, twice.
he was kind of doing the same things last year though too. Like I
But
mean, he's never played that great on the live tour. Like if
yeah,
you look
he's
at
the
some of the
oldest.
results.
Yeah, no, he hasn't. He's the oldest guy to ever win a major. At Kiowa,
Yeah.
Kiowa. At what, 55?
Uh,
52 or something like that.
yeah, I think it was like 52 or 53 because he's
Yeah,
55 now.
he's a two-time green jacket winner already. I mean, I don't see how he doesn't, but like I'm also not going to be surprised if he shoots 10 over through 36.
Yeah. One of the
And
reasons
also,
why
I mean,
didn't let him down.
it's supposed to rain, I believe, Thursday, so it's going to be softer. But a lot of people saying this course is going to be like the practice rounds have been really firm and really hard, which is probably going to have higher scores compared to Jordan Spieth shooting 20 under or whatever it was when he won.
Well, and it plays to the guys who can hit the ball a long way because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden you get that driver, and those guys are gonna, all of a sudden they're gonna hit that low runner, and it's gonna run out 40 yards. I mean, you saw at Waste Management. I mean that course is rock hard. Most PGA courses in the fairway, they are rock hard. They're getting that
Yep.
mad run.
Well,
So
it was raining when we were there, so
oh
it softened up.
yeah, I mean, only on the PGA Tour you get that 30-yard rollout, unless you just hit
Yeah,
thin as hell driver
right.
for us. So
Yeah. So I think Phil makes a cut. I think Tiger makes a cut. That's definitely just my fandom coming in.
yeah, I
Uh,
mean, he's got 23 consecutive cuts made.
Oh,
So
really?
there's a record for Tiger here. 23 consecutive cuts made. He's tied with Gary Player and Fred Couples.
Oh, that might have been the record that somebody was mentioning in his interview. I was listening to it briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want he said today, you know, if everything how do you put it? If everything's together, like I can win one more. He said that today in his presser.
Well,
I'm
he's
like,
never.
I said, I believe you, Tiger. I believe you.
Has he ever said he hasn't shown up to win? I mean, that's one of the reasons why we all love him, right?
Yeah, no, and that's what he said throughout his career. He's like, if I think I can win, I'm gonna go play. And when I don't think I can, that's when I'm hanging it up. So,
I mean, he's going like, what is his odds right now? He's like plus 17,000.
should we make a live bet here?
Plus
Tiger
17,000 to win. I don't know if his body can. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, Cam, like the hills and just the physical abuse that you kind of take walking that course for 4 days. He has zero ankle mobility, right? Noda said that.
He said the ankle doesn't hurt anymore.
It doesn't matter if it doesn't hurt. He still doesn't have mobility. So when
He's
you're
an athlete.
when you're driving off when you're driving off the other leg and all that shock's just going into your back, I mean, that's why his spasm started with the Genesis, right? I mean, that's all hearsay.
He had the poops, Justin. Okay, he was sick.
He just needed to go get some Taco Bell.
Yeah, clog himself up real quick.
Yeah.
I saw he was hitting like 175 ball speed, you know, on the range today.
Yeah, this morning I did watch.
He's got the speed, dude. He's got the speed.
I mean, even for being somewhat injured, it's pretty impressive to see him go in there and like have the same ball speed as Justin Thomas.
Yeah, it's going to be a stamina thing on his leg, right? His leg and his back. That's what it is. I have high hopes. I just placed a live $20 bet on him to win. So
to win
plus 15,000.
Okay, so what's that paying out now? $20. You got this 1 in a billion shot at this point, or 1 in 15,000, I guess. But
let me pull it up. Tiger Woods win only. Oh, it's $25 bet at 15,000. Pays out $3,775.
Yeah.
Why not? You know, you don't want to be that. You know, have you seen the graphics of like his odds to win the Masters throughout the years? At one point, he was like minus 125.
Well, I was reading on a few betting sites that they're actually thinking about removing Tiger because of that scenario. Like in 2019, I think they said DraftKings lost over like $1 million or something like that.
Yeah, because people are like, he probably has no shot to win. Like, we're just gonna
we'll just bet.
Put $10 on him, and like, there's some whales out there who are probably like, I'm gonna put $100 on Tiger, and not even feel this in my wallet, you know?
Yeah, or Dave Portnoy, right? Didn't he put like 600 grand on UConn to win, and they had to pay him out $2.7 million or something?
He had 2.8.
Yeah,
he was going crazy on Twitter. He's like, I'm not hedging. I'm fully confident. Like, you might want to hedge a little bit. You got the money to hedge, Dave. Like, just go ahead and do it.
So
but UConn, I mean, they've won. It was a crazy. I think it was like 13 straight tournament games by or it was like 18 straight tournament games by 13 or more points.
Jeez,
that's like early 2000s Tiger right there in
totally.
NCAA basketball. You know, like, how do you do that? So nobody ever stood a chance against UConn in this year.
No.
Now we are a college basketball podcast. So
yeah, the great airball. We're going with that. I did make my second. I had Brooks Koepka. I took him to win. I think I had him at like plus 1,800, and then I also took Wyndham Clark because I just love the Ducks. I love his story. I love like what he says about things and like his mental side, how he had to be nicer to himself on the golf course. Like, I think that's awesome. So I put a few bucks on him to win, and he was like 2,800 at that point. So
I my total winners outside of the Tiger bet, I put 50 on Scotty just to like, I'm gonna be mad if I don't put money on him and he went. You know what I'm saying? Like with how
Yeah.
he's playing. Put 50 on Brooks, that would pay out 950. I put 75 on Rom, that'd pay 975. Hideki, I put 50 at plus 2200, that pay out 1150. I
I
like it.
mean, there's not anyone that you said where it's like, oh yeah, he's not in good enough form to do it.
Besides
Or
Tiger.
besides Tiger. I mean,
Yeah.
and you could throw Brooks in there, but he's also like there's asterisks with everything he does because if it's a major, he's showing up to play.
Yeah, and that's the thing with him, right? He's talked that talk like majors are the only important tournaments at this point. And he's like, I want to win majors, and like he competes in all of them. So
He is the one player that delivers on those types of things.
yeah.
I mean, he's probably burned pretty hard from last year's Masters. I mean, he did.
I say he's probably got the biggest chip on his shoulder right now outside of Rory to come and grab this thing.
Yeah, losing to Rom after having the lead, and I mean, are we gonna say it's a player of his caliber? It's a choke.
Yeah, and he said he's like, I learned a lot on Sunday last year. I'm not making those same mistakes. So I'm like, all right. Like, I didn't like Brooks. I was Team Bryson for a bit when all that was going down. It was very entertaining. It was great for golf. You know that tension and that rivalry.
Totally.
But full swing the first season, kind of like, well, he's just a head case. Like he's a confident, but he's a head case. Like,
Yep.
he was like almost in tears talking about how can I compete with these guys? I'm like, bro, you've won 4 majors.
Yeah.
And you're saying that to yourself?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, he's a little bit more of a human than he puts off, in his interviews and everything. He's got a sick house too, so
I'm
cool.
pretty sure they all do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like of all people, like Ricky Fowler was on the cut the other day on the Golf Channel, and it was like, yeah, you've got a pretty dope house too, Ricky.
I saw that going. I haven't watched that yet. Is it decent? The cut?
Yeah, I mean, I'll grab it randomly, like on a flight, like if I'm traveling for work.
Sure.
I'll grab some of them, or like I've got YouTube the premium, so I'll just download it on there and watch some of those. I think those are kind of cool. Like they did one a while back where it was the Bryan Bros, and they were talking about Wesley and how George had qualified and stuff like that. So I think they bring some pretty cool stories to like the real world.
I like the Bryan Bros. I thoroughly enjoyed George way more than Wesley. I also think
totally.
George is kind of a better golfer. He just doesn't line up for him when he needs it to. He's qualified. Wesley's won on the tour. I get it. I just for some reason like when I'm watching those game like those matches and stuff they play on, I'm like, George just seems like the better golfer. I don't know. Maybe it's because I like him more.
Probably personality wise. I mean,
personality wise for sure.
I mean, are you gonna get hate on Twitter if we're like Wesley Bryan is a total dick? Like, like he acts like a douchebag the entire time. But
it's true.
And then you've got George, who's like the nice, fun, lovable dude. You're like, I want to go play golf with that guy.
Yeah, I'd rather play golf with George. George looks like one of my good friends named Teddy Lossier II. And I let him know it every time. I'm like, hey George, how you doing? Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But no, yeah, that's good stuff. So you play Sunday. You're not gonna watch the Masters.
No, I mean I'll probably be in the afternoon at some point at like noon. But I was talking to my daughter because I just found out today because I was on the waiting list.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll probably record it actually, and I might just avoid everything.
Okay, I will not text you any spoilers unless it's Tiger Woods winning and I just won $3,000. So,
I mean, you win any money, I'm always down to celebrate for everyone. I'm not going to be that guy because.
Well, I don't want to spoil it for you. Like sports recording for me is so hard because I can't fight the temptation to go look at ESPN.com.
But that's what I'm saying is probably going to happen. I'll be like, oh yeah, and then I'm at a golf course with 140 other guys that are
it's going to be buzzing around.
It's not going to go unnoticed, like all of a sudden they're going to be like, hey, do you see what happened? Especially if it comes down to the wire. We've got a great battle on Sunday, which I hope, like, that's the only thing I want. I want to watch a couple guys go back and forth and it come down to what you've done on the last 3 holes to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That'll be dope.
I agree. I don't want like a blowout by any. I don't want like a 7-8 stroke win. Unless it's Scotty and he can keep that talk going, right? If it's a blowout win, I want Scotty to blow him out because of how he's been playing lately. I don't want I don't want Bryson to come in and win by 10 strokes.
You want Tiger to win by 10 strokes?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will take that as well.
we got those two picks. Those are the only ones that can win by 10 strokes.
Yeah, Scotty or Tiger.
Yeah.
There was a bet on there. It's a Tiger special. It's like Tiger to win by two strokes. It was like plus 170,000. I'm like, I could put $1 on this and win $1,700. No problem.
Yeah. It's worth just the entertainment value of watching it and just being like, oh man, can I cash out yet?
Yeah. Does he have a 2-stroke lead yet? I know it's only Thursday, and he's the first person out or whatever. Yeah. That's funny. All right. Cool. Well, I think we got anything you want to add, Justin, just as a thought, a comment, anything. Anything?
No, man. I think the Masters is gonna be awesome this year. I think golf in general has been awesome this year. Contrary to here's my hot take: don't lift golf players back with the PGA.
I feel like we have to have you on again because you're pretty. It seems. I don't want to label you as anti-live, but you're not thrilled about the situation when it comes to the live.
No, okay. This is where, and I made a comment on some Facebook comment today because I was like, "You guys are idiots. You guys let's merge them." And it was John Rahm. He's like, I thought when I joined it would be the tipping point and we would just all merge back together. What? Mm-hmm. Cam, your son, he comes to you and he says, I want a cookie. And you say, no, you have to eat dinner first. And he goes and he takes 2 cookies and he eats them. You just gonna roll over and say, oh yeah, whatever, it's cool. You can have that in dinner.
Yeah.
No, right. They literally knew the consequences of what they were gonna do.
Yeah.
Make it stand up for something.
Do you think John Rahm goes to live if he didn't win the Masters? I don't know what the U.S. Open win exempted him for and how long it did.
That's a really good question. I don't know.
But that was what, 2 years prior to his Masters win? Wasn't it 2021 when he won?
Let me ask this question. Do you think he gave a shit with $350 million?
No, I don't blame anybody. If our competitor at work called me and said, hey, do you want to make 10 times as much money as you are now for 30% of the work? I'd be like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, exactly. I mean, I get why
Saudi Arabia funds your company. I don't care.
Yeah. And that's the thing, in full swing, DJ was totally honest about it. Brooks has been totally honest about it. It wasn't to change the game. It wasn't to do X, Y, and Z. It was like, bro,
it's like, do you see how rich I am on my boat right now? That's why I did it. Yeah.
Over $1 million boat, by the way. But they're actually truthful on it. So it's like, okay, take your money, but you don't get your pie or your cake and eat it too. Right. Mm-hmm. That old saying, so that's where I kind of stand with it. That's my hot take for this. I don't want them to merge back.
Well, it looks like we're going to go ahead and schedule a second podcast with you, Justin, to get into the LIV versus the PGA Tour thing, because you've got a lot to say about it. And it's just a hot topic right now. Once the Masters dies down, we have about a month before the next major.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a lot of talk of, is there any movement? So we'll have you back on for that discussion. And I appreciate you coming on tonight, spending the hour and 20 minutes with us. Just thank you again.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Hope you go low this weekend, and I hope you make a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, so we're playing Friday. John and I are going to play for an orange Gatorade. It's going to be
it's worth something because he always grabs an orange Gatorade at the turn.
Incredibly competitive.
I think the bet should be if you're losing to him at the turn, he has to take his second pair of socks off.
Yeah, that just doesn't sit well with me. I'm a little upset. You just reminded me of it. So
you're playing with him, you gotta.
It's very enjoyable watching him hit a golf ball and shoot 300-400 par with ease.
Totally, and that's probably one of the only reasons I really remember it is I'm like, I don't know any good golfers that actually wear 2 sets of socks.
No, I don't know any. He's the only one. So
yeah, Totally.
All right, Justin. Good luck this
man.
weekend on Sunday. Go Tiger, and we'll be talking soon. Audience, thank you for listening. Go like and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. We're the Great Bogey Podcast. We'll talk to you next time.